Hello and welcome to One Storyteller, where here we are in the Two Towers, Chapter 4, the first part, and I'm trying, man. I'm raking.
I'm trying even more, and I'm Andrew.
Excellent. I'm glad we're both trying our best. As Naruto told me,
Oh,
that's all you could do.
well, that's true.
I feel like he probably said that at some point. Go watch all 720 episodes.
When you
and
have that many episodes,
find if
you
he
can
said
probably apply any quote, huh?
yes, probably so. Although I've only seen like half of them.
I see.
You should just skip half of them. And then it's a really good show if you skip 50% of it.
That's what I keep hearing.
So, Chapter 4, Two Towers, Treebeard.
Yes.
They meet a tree.
He's got a beard.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's basically the whole chapter.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So there's this race of trees.
Oh.
I guess we'll talk about them eventually. I feel like we could do this chapter in 2 minutes. Merry and Pippin are in a forest.
What are you doing?
They meet some trees. The trees are like, and then Chapter 5.
What did I do to you?
You broke me. I do not have time in my life for the ants. Okay, so
Don't be so hasty.
I've thought about this for now 4 days.
You have.
I have.
Mm.
They deserve it. Okay, so Merry and Pippin, which
Yes.
in my notes,
They're kind of guest stars in this chapter.
yes, which is weird. They're the main characters, but they're also not really the ones who are doing all that much, or at least they get upstaged halfway through.
Much overshadowed in terms of impactful choices being made.
Which I have a little problem with, but we'll talk about that later on. I have thought about my opinion.
We'll talk about this
very
later
much.
on, but I don't have even a little problem with
Exactly. He's incorrect and silly, but I'm glad he enjoys the chapter. This is one of your favorite chapters?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Oof, that's a take. It's not one of my favorite chapters. It's not bad. It's a little bit confusing with the way it's framed, but whatever. It's fine. I find it more of a setup chapter than anything, but I feel like it definitely...
It is.
I don't know.
Maybe you could describe it as more cerebral. There's like not as much action going on.
Yeah.
There's like almost no action. It is just different conversations,
Yeah.
and it ends with something's going to happen.
A big decision that's going to be relevant after a couple chapters when we get back to Merry and Pippin.
Yep.
I guess we'll go ahead and talk about this now. This is a chapter that's written from the perspective of Merry and Pippin,
Yeah.
essentially. But it's nothing really happens for Merry and Pippin specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And so their story doesn't really get furthered
Yeah.
here so much as somebody else's story gets furthered, and that's going to be relevant to them later on.
Yeah, and it's not too many chapters.
Yeah.
We hear about what the Ents end up doing from the perspective of Merry and Pippin describing it
Yes.
to Legolas, Gimli, and Aragorn later
Yes.
on. And you can tell it's made a big impact on them.
Yeah. And so for that reason, this feels more like a setup chapter
For
to
Merry
me.
and Pippin, it's definitely a setup
Yes.
chapter.
And because we
That's fair.
start with the perspective of Merry and Pippin, that's what I feel
I
like,
respect
which is
that.
my main issue with it. See, I told you it would be bad to have recorded this episode like 30 minutes
hated
after
this
I finished.
chapter right after he read it.
I was just confused.
Okay.
I still don't like the framing, but whatever.
Okay.
Who cares? Merry and Pippin, abbreviated in my notes to M&P, which stands for military and police. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Very relevant. Okay.
Merry and Pippin in Fanghorn. Fanghorn Forest is suspect,
Yes.
shall we say.
They were warned against coming here
By whom?
by Celeborn,
And
Lord of Lorien.
if you ever feel useless, remember Galadriel also
No.
had a husband.
That's only in the movies.
Yes,
He's
but
a
it's
great
really
guy.
funny in the movies.
Oh, Lord.
So yeah, was it just Lorien, or was there, because after Lorien,
That's the
Aragorn
first
also?
time it's
That's the
mentioned,
first
yeah.
time. Okay, I guess it would be more directly on their route after they had to go through Moria for reasons. So yes, they are in this forest that has self-admitted a weird atmosphere. If
Yes.
they're in there, they don't
What's
really
it?
like
Pippin
it.
describes it. He lived in the smiles at Tuckborough,
Mm-hmm.
which is a great warren, self-described.
Yep.
And there's a room where the old Took, kind of the patriarch of those hobbits, lived. And the room didn't change. It's shabby. He describes it as shabby on a couple occasions.
Yep.
He says, this reminds me of this forest. It's like it stayed the same for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah. And he compares it to a room that's like,
Yeah.
a couple 100 years old.
Right.
Which for them is a very long time.
Mhm.
For the forest, it's nowhere close to it. But that's the best frame of reference he has, which is
Right.
funny. There is an interesting note here. It's disturbing to them. It's frightful. It's dim and frightfully tree-ish, and they're not comfortable with it.
Mhm.
And so I would describe this as like it's a scary forest.
Yes.
But it's scary in a different way than the orcs are scary,
Yes.
I guess. It's the scary of being different rather than the scary of being downright evil, maybe. I don't know if that's the right way to put that.
Like
That's the sense I
the
get from it.
the orcs are bad because you can understand them. They're just
True.
they're like a forced, or they're a picture of what you're like if you're evil.
They're a natural disaster.
They're what
Yeah.
you look like when you're evil.
Yeah.
The forest is sort of unknown and
Mm-hmm.
inhuman,
Mm-hmm.
not anti-human, but inhuman.
Just different. Like the elves are, which is kind of poetic, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that in a little bit. It's very dark in there, but then they see the sun for a
Mhm.
moment, and they want to go see the sun. When the
Yeah.
sun's out, it's nice.
This sort of mirrors what happened when they were going into the old forest.
Mm-hmm.
They feel kind of stifled.
Yep.
They come out to a clearing, maybe a hill in the old forest as well. I don't remember exactly.
I think so.
But they come out to some place that
Bonfire Hill, right?
kind of rises
Something like
above
that. Yeah.
the rest of the stifling forest. I was moving my arm around.
Yes.
But
They come up to the hill where
they can see the sun. That's what you're saying.
They can come out of the forest for a little bit, in the forest, but not of the forest, as they say.
Oh.
And so they also see a hill here, and the sun's up there, and so they want to go up and get a breath of fresh air that's not covered in trees.
Mhm.
And so they do that, and they end up looking out and seeing some pretty cool stuff. And Pippin says, "It looks really different in the sunlight. I almost felt I liked it."
I love that so much.
Which is
I just do.
a good line.
Because, of course, that's what inspires Treebeard to talk to them.
Something answers that moment.
It's sort of sad. Are we going to talk about
It's
Treebeard
funny.
right now?
Yeah, let's talk about Treebeard.
He says, that's uncommonly kind of you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. That's actually a deep cut. I'll come back to this later, I hope.
Okay.
Because there's other people Treebeard has cared about who didn't like the forest. very
That's true.
much.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but we'll come back around to that.
Potentially, if we remember.
I'll
Yeah.
try to.
That's uncommonly kind of you. I almost feel that I dislike you, but let's hang on a minute before
That
we
almost
actually
sounds
get
like
there.
something Bilbo would say.
Yeah,
It almost does.
yeah. It's very clever, very quick-witted for someone who's not very hasty, but whatever. Treebeard appears. Treebeard is weird. How about you describe Treebeard, and I'll see what I think about him.
Like,
You like
the way he
Treebeard
looks? Oh, okay.
a lot.
I do.
Why? Like, what do you see in Treebeard? He's an ent, which means he's a big tree
Yeah.
who talks and
Well,
walks.
we'll come back
He's
around to that.
yeah. By all means, you
Yeah.
can delve into like
Sure,
any
sure.
and all of this now.
Well, I'll start with what you were actually asking
Sure.
for. Like, he's really thoughtful.
Mhm.
I think Tolkien takes time for us, unlike a lot of other characters, or at least to this extent, where you're really invited to see how he thinks through something.
Yeah.
Which I think is neat. He's certainly alien, not quite as alien as Tom Bombadil,
Mhm.
or not even as alien as the elves, I'd say.
Mhm.
But he's not a human. He's not a dwarf. He's not a hobbit.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. He doesn't even know what hobbits are.
He's ancient.
Mm-hmm.
That's where his alienness comes from.
Yeah.
Well, part of it. The other part of it is, like Bombadil, he's not concerned with other mortal things. And that's the main thing that separates him from elves. Because elves, at their best, are concerned with mortal things.
Mm-hmm.
With this struggle between good and evil.
Yeah.
Treebeard is sort of an observer to that conflict. Yeah. And that's fine for Ints, you know?
Yeah.
He is a self-described and accurately described guardian of the forest.
Yeah.
That's who he is.
And even so, correct me if I'm wrong. I may well be. I don't even know. He's more than just a guardian of the forest. Like, he is the forest. He calls himself the Int.
He does call himself the Int.
Which is weird. And he seems to be... So, Ints, as we'll find out later in the chapter, I'm sure I'll briefly cover it when we actually get there in the chronology, are created by elves.
Sort of.
Okay. What am I missing there? When I read it, it sounded like they were created.
It does sound like that. You know, and Tolkien, for really ancient things, he doesn't give like a concrete answer. Yeah. There's various legends.
Woken by elves? Is that what
Woken
it says?
is the precise term.
Okay.
The Silmarillion, the only legend about Ents, is that there's a god and a goddess.
Mm-hmm.
There's I think, Aule and Yavanna. And Aule is the guy who made the dwarves.
Okay.
He wasn't supposed to, but the highest god is like, okay, they love you. I have a place for them in my world.
Fair enough. And
he tells his wife, he says, hey, dwarves are going to be in the world. And they're going to cut down trees and make a bunch of cool stuff. And she's the nature goddess. She's like, what? And so she asks to make Ints. That's their origin story.
Okay. Interesting. He says...
Yeah, but Treebeard says the elves teach them to speak.
Well, he says elves began it, waking trees up and teaching them to speak and learning their tree talk.
Yeah. Which is paired, teaching trees to speak.
Yeah.
Is not the same, but in partnership with teaching Ints to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So he's making a distinction there between tree and Int, which is as much as he compares it, it's like a shepherd with sheep, kind of. He is the elder who's in charge of taking care of the forest and making sure it functions as a forest.
Yeah.
So for him to say he's the Int, and then he kind of corrects it to be just an Int. Or like I'm an Int, I'm the Int, but whatever. Yeah. Is he like the original?
There are some other really old Ints.
Yeah.
But he is the oldest, so he's the first Int.
Okay. At least in this forest, or just period.
Period.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there might be one other character on like this, like, you know, the mortal half of Middle Earth, like Middle Earth proper. There might be another character who's older than him, but he's in the top 3, right? Like technically, like Gandalf and Saruman are like spirits who predate any created thing, but as far as like being here, he's even been here longer than Sauron has. Yeah. So he's incredibly ancient.
Yeah.
One thing that doesn't matter as much is like his appearance. Later we'll see there's huge diversity in appearances.
Yeah,
because they're like,
look
as
like
different
trees
from one tree as from another. But in Peter Jackson's movies, he just looks like a tree.
He looks like a tree.
There's definitely a resemblance to trees that Ints have.
They would be looking like trees.
They're more like trolls, more like a generic kind of giant. Although they have a couple weird things like mossy beards, skin that is reminiscent of bark, and weird root-like toes.
Trees.
But they're distinctively not trees.
Yes.
You know, in the movies, he just looks like a tree that's in a human shape. The Ints, at least as far as I can tell in the book, are more more on the humanoid spectrum than Jackson's iteration of Ents.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Do you think that's a good adaptation choice? Do you think it's bad? Do you think it just doesn't matter?
I'm stupidly picky.
It
probably
it's
doesn't. It probably doesn't matter that much.
Do you think it's bad though?
It's not what's described.
Okay. I kind of like it better. I don't know. Maybe it's just because that's what I have in my head. But the troll-like creatures, I mean, they can't tell if it is wearing bark or if its skin is just really weird. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems to look like a tree.
Jackson's depiction removes the ambiguity.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But
Fair
you're right. It
interpretive
doesn't matter
choice,
too much.
whatever.
Doesn't matter too much.
I think it's cool. He's a tree. He's a special tree. He's a tree shepherd.
He's a tree man.
Akin to a tree, but not the tree. He also describes himself as Fanghorn, which is like the whole
Fangorn.
forest. Which I guess if he's the original and he's like the leader of the forest.
The oldest forest in the world is named after him.
Yeah. Interesting. I guess that's just because it's his domain or what he was assigned. So curious. He's very suspicious as an individual, at least at first.
Yeah.
Fair enough, I think.
He is willing to stomp first and ask questions later.
Yes. He only doesn't step on Merry and Pippin because he hears them talking and they don't sound like orcs.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's willing to examine them and see what they are. He thinks they're orc spies, and he's very cautious. He doesn't want to give out information like his true name or like what the Ents actually are or what they call themselves.
Yeah.
So he's very, very cautious. He does open up a bit later after he's, I guess, assured that they're not orcs, I think is how that works.
Yes.
Or about how that goes.
I think that's about right.
So he's not like unwilling to give benefit of the doubt, but he's not instantly willing to give benefit of the doubt.
I think,
and that's good.
I think it's a healthy kind of suspicion for the most part. Right?
Yeah. Does not give personal information freely, as opposed to Merry and Pippin, who instantly...
Who might be a Nigerian prince?
We're
not going to give you my credit card information.
That's probably good. Good for him. Merry just straight up drops his name. Pippin also does. Merry speaks first and then Pippin, so we're kind of back to Merry's lead.
They tell their proper name for their species.
Yeah.
Like, we're hobbits. Hobbit.
Yeah, basically. And he says, why are you being
so
why are you telling me all
trusting?
of this?
Yeah.
This is have some respect for your own names.
Yeah.
What the names that you give tell you the story of things, which is interesting. We were talking about that earlier this morning. How people live up to their names.
Oh yes.
Curious. Here it is. Real names tell you the story of the things that they belong to.
Yeah, sort of a reversal of that. Like
Yes.
names live up to what they're describing for the Ents.
Yeah. And so you do find out a few things about him. He likes Gandalf.
Mm-hmm.
Gandalf is apparently the only wizard who cares about trees, which interesting for Radagast especially.
Yeah. Well, he's the animal wizard.
I guess that's fair. He just lives in the forest but doesn't care about the trees so
evidently.
much. That's kind of rough. Treebeard belittles Saruman. He literally calls him Little Saruman, which is a flex.
It is.
So you hear about those opinions.
Mm-hmm.
You also hear Treebeard does not like Lothlorien, and he expresses...
Well, he's suspicious of it.
Yeah, well, he expresses the same kind of surprise that they actually got through it, kind of like Éomer does, and so I guess...
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just a cultural thing that they both share, but...
Well, they don't share it. It's a convergence opinion, I guess.
Everybody agrees Lothlorien is bad, including me, but that's a whole conversation.
You are among good company. But,
exactly.
But Éomer is more like out of hand suspicious.
Yeah.
And Treebeard is like, well, they're just like really isolated.
Yeah.
And that's a way that Fangorn mirrors Lothlorien.
Yeah.
And as an Ent, he has more of an excuse for that kind of approach to life.
Mm-hmm.
But it is sort of a danger. Like, they could have died.
Yeah.
Right? Treebeard could have killed them.
Yeah.
Right? So Celeborn's right to warn you against the Ents, who are suspicious because no one cares about trees anymore.
Yeah. And Treebeard would be right to warn them about Lothlorien because the elves have a habit of, they're withdrawn from the world.
Yeah.
And so he says
it was exceptional circumstances that let people come into the land. And even then there was almost a fight there, right?
Yeah. He's surprised that they got out. He's even more surprised that they got in the first place.
Right.
And so he would warn against Lothlorien because he just doesn't know that much about it. They seem like they don't like people. And the Lothlorienites would warn against Fanghorn because they don't know that much about it, and they feel like they don't like people, which is true on both counts.
Yeah.
So not necessarily wrong. So you do see these few little personality traits about them, and he starts to trust them a little bit, enough to walk them home, or to take them to his home.
Yeah.
Which seems pretty trusting for an Ent. For someone who does not move hastily, he sure decides on that pretty quickly.
Well, we'll talk about this some more.
Yeah.
But has the appearance of haste, perhaps, but Treebeard has considered situations before. So he's not drawing upon thin air to make these choices.
Yeah.
He has a lot of experience. There's not really... I think that's an important distinction.
Yeah. My second main complaint with this chapter is Treebeard makes a big deal about how Ents are not hasty and how they're sometimes too willing to wait and think about decisions before they actually make them. And then for the sake of convenience in the book and for the sake of actually having a decent story pace, you can't actually drag out decisions that are being made. And so Treebeard is like, well, I guess I do trust these people. And there's probably a background reason that you can give as to why he comes around to that decision.
Seems reasonable to me.
But when it happens within the space of 2 pages, then I say, wow, that seems awfully hasty. Whatever.
I can understand that.
It's a hand wave moment. It just bugs me personally.
No, this is something.
It's silly.
When I was first trying to bring you to the light side, I said, if this was a story just about Treebeard, the way Tolkien handles the Ents would be totally unacceptable. It's too much telling than showing. But I think it's important for the story as a whole, and I think it works since Treebeard is, for lack of a better term, like a guest star to the story.
He's a side character.
Yeah.
He's relevant for the plot of Merry and Pippin, but the plot of Merry and Pippin is going to be the main focus and the main thing that ultimately comes out of it. So, but this chapter, Treebeard is kind of the main character for a chapter, and so that's odd to me.
It sort of mirrors Aragorn, most of the what's that chapter called? I don't know.
The Riders of Rohan.
Even though we're following Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, most of the chapter is about talking to Éomer. So it kind of mirrors that interaction. I think it's kind of cool.
Interesting. Even in that, I feel like Aragorn was still the driving force of a lot of it.
Aragorn is making a lot more decisions than Merry and Pippin are, for sure.
Odd to me, but whatever. Who actually cares about my opinion? Except for me. Rip. Well, here we are. So basically, this is where they're getting home. They're getting to Treebeard's home, and as they're walking along, Treebeard drops the Ent lore on them that they were woken up by elves who then kind of abandoned them and don't talk to them anymore. And he compares Ents to, they're kind of like elves, but not pretentious. And they're kind of like men, but not as, not as flighty. They're like the weird combination, not quite elves and not quite men. They're somewhere in between, steady and reliable, but not too hasty to get drawn into every last thing and then give up halfway through.
Right.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I like the Ents as a race. I think they're cool.
They're neat. And it's kind of wild for this very, more obviously inhuman thing to say, we don't change as much, or we change less than those elves change. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Elves are bad. So I just thought I would get my daily dose of that.
They're
in there.
alien.
That needs to be communicated And so they arrive at this place called Welling Hall. I guess there's a song before that, technically, or like a chant.
Sort of.
I don't know if you have anything on that.
Not really.
Bless. So, yeah, you can
we
talk
do
about
see.
it.
This is where. This after that little, educational chant.
Yeah.
That Treebeard talks about. Well, they ask him, "Whose side are you on?" It's like, I'm not on anyone's side, man, because no one cares about trees.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, I think that's important to appreciate, like Treebeard's perspective and worldview.
Yeah.
And this puts him into the camp of Tom Bombadil, like I mentioned before. Like, it's not. I don't think their goals are like identical,
Mm-hmm.
but Tom Bombadil isn't evil for not participating in the world like elves, men, and dwarves are.
Yeah.
He has a different duty. Treebeard is doing very good for his specific duty.
Yeah.
Which is distinct from elves, dwarves, and men.
Yeah. Which is take care of this one forest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is his job. That's his whole bit. And so there's no real reason for him to go outside and do anything outside of that. Except there kind of is, and that's where a lot of this chapter ends up focusing, is thinking about that conflict and how sometimes you need to go outside of your strict responsibilities to be able to fulfill your strict responsibilities.
That's what Amer did.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. Amer and Treebeard are like the same person.
One of the things I love most about Lord of the Rings is how Tolkien comes at the same ideas from a lot of different angles that inform and contrast.
Yeah.
Help express that main idea in a lot of different ways.
Interesting. All I will say is that Amer is better than Treebeard because in the Lord of the Rings Stratego set,
oh my goodness,
Amer is a 7 and Treebeard is a 6. So I don't want to hear it.
I wasn't sure where you're going with that.
Amer, Theoden, and Faramir
the lower
are
numbers
7s.
are better though. In Stratego,
Lower numbers are better? No.
In Stratego,
10 kills everything.
9 is the weakest number in Stratego.
No.
What kind of Stratego are you playing?
You're playing the wrong one. Bro, Gandalf is 10, Aragorn is 9, Legolas and Gimli are 8. Why do I know all of this?
But classic Stratego...
Okay, there is an old version of Stratego where it's like 2 is
reversed.
the best number.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible. No, in Lord of the Rings Stratego, you have 8 2s, and they're all just random riders of Rohan, and nobody cares about them because they all die really easily. It's the real version of Stratego. The authoritative version.
That's crazy.
And Treebeard's a 6, while Amer is a 7, along with Theoden and Faramir, which I think is really cool. The 7s are the ones who move really fast, and so they need to all be horse riders or of some sort.
Okay, yeah.
So, anyway, basically,
that's terrible.
The authorized game tells me that I am right. So they arrive at what is called Welling Hall, is the
one of Treebeard's houses.
Common tongue name.
We should use a parentheses to call this a house.
That's not a parentheses, bro. That's an air quote. That was a quotation. That's not a parenthesis.
Thing.
It's not the same thing. What? No.
It's a house. See what I'm doing with my fingers?
Yeah, yes, it's not a parentheses. So they.
Oh right, I said the wrong thing.
I know you said the wrong thing. That's what I'm saying.
Sorry.
So they arrive at this. Oh my goodness. They arrive at this.
Wait, they're in Welling Hall?
Yes, they are.
Is that a house?
Yes.
Okay.
Only in parentheses though.
Okay.
I don't speak other languages.
Gotcha.
There is weird int magic.
Oh,
which
yeah.
Maybe we would call it magic. I don't know.
I like
the
this
ints have a
bit.
draught as well.
Yes.
And the int draught is cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Yeah.
It has, so it's described in the same way. It's described, not in the same way. It's described similarly to what the orc drink does, except the orc drink burns from the throat down, and the int draught is expressed as like, kind of like cleansing and filling from the toes up.
Fascinating. I hadn't picked up on that contrast.
Yes.
That's definitely on purpose.
It's very interesting. It is a much more fulfilling thing than the orc stuff.
Yes.
Even if it ends up in the same place, like both of them help, but one of them does it in a wholesome and blessed way.
That's the right way to say it. Yeah.
It bringing refreshment and vigor as it coursed upward right to the tips of their hair, as opposed to burning all the way down, which is not a good thing. So, curious. There's this. So Treebeard lays down because apparently he has a bed, even though he sleeps standing up.
Yeah, it's to talk.
I guess. Yeah. Yes, that makes sense. I guess. He has no chairs because why would he have a chair?
It's hard for Ince to bend.
True. And I don't really know why he's laying down. I feel like that would be difficult to accomplish.
It was.
Yeah.
But he can do hard things.
He can sit in the chair. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Merry and Pippin sit on his table and tell him all about their journey.
Yeah.
Which thankfully Tolkien does not explicitly detail to every last detail, unlike Gandalf in the Council of Elrond. Wife, I am sorry it took you so long to listen to the Council of Elrond chapters. Took her a long time to get through those because we talked about those.
It's a really long.
I know, because Gandalf just keeps talking. Anyway, Gandalf is dead. Bless. Merry and Pippin talk about the journey, pointedly leaving out the ring.
Yes.
Which means they're...
This sort of mirrors Treebeard's healthy suspicion.
Yes.
Like, they're...
Nice to see.
Yeah.
Not completely hasty. I feel like that's probably a positive commentary on Pippin, because Pippin in Bree...
That's a good point. Yes. Oh, that's a great point.
Incredibly hasty, willing to just kind of spill whatever beans.
He's like, are there a can of beans over here? Oops. Just like that.
Pointedly drawing attention to Frodo.
Yes.
Whereas here he is, even though they're in a very nice situation and Treebeard's provided for them, he's not going to, out Frodo and stuff like that. He's learned a little bit from his journey so far. And we have seen that because, he's been competent in the last couple of chapters instead of being so hasty as he was in Moria, pushing a bucket into a well and seeing what happens.
Yeah, that's a great point. I hadn't thought about that either.
Yeah, well, there you go. I've thought about this way too much. So Treebeard is interested enough. He's listening along, and he's interested in especially anything to do with Saruman and what's happening locally in the region. It seems he is not going to help people and go out to seek the good of those around him, which is not great, but he is seeing that Saruman is doing some things that are not so positive for his area, and Saruman kind of needs to be put down.
Yeah.
Lightly. Keeps sending orcs into his woods, and he doesn't really like that. And so maybe the trees should deal with him. Saruman is selfish, and he is, I can't even read my notes, what I wrote there. He is power hungry, and he is now hateful, and he has a mind of metal.
Yes.
As they say.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's crazy. Have you seen that meme where Saruman has a mind of metal, and then it switches over to Saruman playing a guitar?
That's kind of funny.
It's a great time because Christopher Lee was in a metal band.
That's true.
Yeah, a great band. Sometimes. Anything on the whole Saruman?
Yeah, one of the things Treebeard says here or a little while later is a wizard should know better.
Yes,
and we sort of talked about that during the Council of Elrond chapter. But Saruman should. He was sent on a mission from the west that said, hey, there's going to be in a very summarized way, there's going to be judgment against evil in Middle-earth, but we're sending you guys to help the people there fight against evil.
Yeah.
So don't take power for yourself, but do lead and help people take a stand and help them oppose evil.
Yeah.
And Gandalf does that. Saruman ends up building his own castle, right? Basically.
And one of the points, I think you raised it in Council of Elrond, was they weren't really supposed to settle in.
No.
But Saruman does.
Yeah.
And so he becomes an issue for everybody around him.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and as interesting, Treebeard seems to have some kind of awareness of that. It's like, he's a wizard. He should know better than this.
Yeah. Gandalf does. Gandalf is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But Saruman is not particularly cool. He has the mind of metal is an obsession with things that are man-made instead of that which is natural. Yeah. So it's interesting that orcs are coming from Saruman because they are man-made instead of being natural races that like should exist.
Mm-hmm.
They're just creations of man, corrupted things. So that's back to the orc conversation from the last chapter. But Treebeard has just kind of let this happen in many ways. He has not, at this point, he has not seen fit to step in and do anything about it because Isengard is not Fangorn, and he has no business going outside his realm up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I believe it's right around here. Let's see. Yeah, it's right around here that he begins to really kind of psych himself up.
Yeah.
And he gets really mad about that. As Merry and Pippin are sitting and just telling him about these stories, he knows all of these things. Like, he knows that Saruman has created orcs, and he knows that the orcs are roaming around and that they're hurting people and stuff like that. And he hasn't done anything about it up until this point, but as he's talking about it and as they're kind of forcing him to think about it, he's reminding himself of why it's a bad thing and why it shouldn't be allowed to continue. I think is a safe way to say that.
Yeah.
We had some disagreements about how to phrase that. I think that's a fair thing.
Yeah. And again, it's not like he's not doing anything.
Yeah.
But he's been treating the symptoms.
Yeah.
Like when you almost certainly smash an orc here or there when they come too deep into the forest messing around. Some are going to slip by because there's not a lot of ints. But no, stomp on an orc when you see them. That seems to be the policy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
basically, if the orcs violate my border, I will kill them. But I'm not going to stop the orcs from violating my border, which is a whole different interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But now this is one of those tell instead of show situations. We've heard this has been happening for not sure how long, but long enough.
A while. Yeah.
And now Treebeard's like, this policy hasn't been working.
Yeah.
I think we got to go kick Sauron in the head. Or Saruman, rather.
Yes. The Ents have nothing to do against Sauron.
Well,
they're not going to leave Fangorn to go fight at Varador. But they are going to deal with Saruman because he's right there, and they have a responsibility to do that. Maybe the best defense is a good offense, which means sometimes.
That is the conclusion they reach.
Yeah. I have been attacked enough, and now it's time for me to respond in kind and stop them from attacking the innocent forest. So he sets out to call what's called an Ent Moot.
Yep.
I think, which is a gathering of the Ents to go and do something and have a survey of what they should do in response to the situation. It's on the way there that he sings them a song about the Entwives, and I'm sure you probably have something to say about them. Then go ahead.
Well, even before that song, there's a couple interesting things about this forest and Treebeard's attitude toward it that I think are fascinating.
Yeah.
The hobbits start picking up on, the way you're talking about this forest makes it sound kind of like the old forest where we almost died to a willow tree.
Yeah.
Treebeard's talking some more about what elves call Fangorn. There's this elvish phrase that appears that references the appendix F under Ents.
Okay. I'll keep it in mind for a year from now.
Well, basically, this elven phrase for Fangorn, which is like when elves had longer names for things, translates to dark, shrouded valley forest. And Treebeard says, well, they're probably right. And he talks about there are some places in Fangorn that are even more dangerous than the old forest. And that's another reason why Celeborn's warning was appropriate. Is you could, if you almost died to Old Man Willow, what are you going to do in a forest much bigger and has much more dark spots?
Yeah.
That's interesting. And that shows like Treebeard does have an important role because apparently trees can be evil. So you gotta watch them.
Fair point. Trees are messed up. If that's what we're learning from Lord of the Rings, it's that trees have a mind of their own and they're very cool.
Yeah, there's
respect trees because you never know when they'll come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, so there's that evil connection there, but there's he also says there used to be forest from up to the old forest and beyond, all the way down to where the remnants of Fangorn are today.
Yeah,
he said he loved walking through the forest. This sounds ridiculous, but it sort of makes me feel nostalgic. As he said, he used to spend a week just breathing.
Yeah,
that sounds kind of awesome.
It does. It does. Well, this plays into, from what I understand, one of Tolkien's big thematic ideas, which is he doesn't really like industry and the proliferation of the man-made over the natural. I don't know if that's the best way to say that.
This is a very acceptable way. Okay. I'm not going to say it better than that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I assume it didn't just originate from World War I, but surely seeing a bunch of tanks destroy nature was not a positive.
That's just going to reinforce it,
experience.
Right? But
the Saruman Fangorn conflict reminds me very strongly of that.
Well, and that's the strongest picture of it in the books.
Yeah.
Saruman's going to be involved with the last part of that as well. But
Saruman hasn't destroyed the whole forest, but he has actively destroyed a section of it.
Yeah,
recently.
He's happy to keep swinging.
Yes, because he's using the wood to fuel birthing more orcs, which is probably not a positive.
Yeah. But nostalgia is this big part in Lord of the Rings, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
Gimli introduced us to nostalgia for Moria. We've seen nostalgia with just about every elf we meet, but especially with Galadriel. And now we see Treebeard's like, I miss the good old days, you know? And that causes, I think you could argue that's the reason why a lot of Ents have gone tree-ish, is they've been deprived of the Ent wives, which we'll talk about. They've been deprived of the old glory they had. And a lot of them are like, it's almost like, who cares anymore?
Yeah.
That's not the only factor. Like, going tree-ish is a uniquely Entish kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's striking to me that Treebeard says this has only happened after those other things have happened, you know?
And tree-ish is basically they lose the will to live and so become still.
They're just sleeping all the time.
And like trees.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But
so Peter Jackson one where they look like trees makes more sense.
Bah.
Anyway.
But Treebeard is intensely nostalgic, and he has a greater right to feel nostalgia than any other Ent because he is the Ent, the first Ent.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
But he hasn't given up.
He doesn't give up.
Which is cool.
Yeah, I think that's really.
I like Treebeard.
Really cool.
He's a cool guy.
I like how he walks around and sings and loves being in the forest.
In the trees.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's I haven't fact checked this. I meant to, but allegedly Treebeard is based off C.S. Lewis.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, there you go.
That's terrible.
But
curious. I have not heard that.
Allegedly. It's worth fact checking, but I like that idea. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I also love how Treebeard is. He does have that suspiciousness, but he's thought through a ton of stuff. He's got a ton of experience to draw on, and he's the kind of old person I want to be like, because he's talking to these hobbits who don't know very much at all, but he's invested in listening, and that's to his benefit, evidently, right?
Yeah.
And he also is friendly and like casual with them too. Like it's not. he doesn't act like he's the most important person in the room, even though arguably he is.
He
right?
definitely is. Yeah. In this case, yes.
He's like, he has very, very gentle and like invested interactions.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty awesome.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Seen a lot of stuff, but it hasn't made him reject the world.
Yeah,
which
he's
is
not
cool.
jaded
Yeah.
or arrogant, right?
Yeah.
He's
He is-
certainly cynical, but he's not.
Yeah.
He's
well,
not ruled by cynicism.
Yeah,
right?
I don't even know that cynical's the right word. He definitely has some problems with the way things are,
Yeah.
and he wants to fix it. But he's not depressed about it, and he's
Yes.
not.
Yeah.
It hasn't even bothered him enough that he steps up and does something about it up until this point.
Sure. And that's like the dark side to it, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So not the best reaction, but far from the worst reaction.
Yeah. And he arrives at a very noble place.
Yeah. And it barely takes anything to push him there. We were talking about this a couple days ago. Like, Merry and Pippin show up, and he doesn't even receive any new information from them. But it's just as he's reflecting on the information he already knows, he realizes, it's time that I should really do something about this. And as part of his responsibility to keep the forest, that he would proactively keep the forest against its enemies.
Exactly.
Instead of just being reactive to the ever-increasing number of orcs who are coming through and hacking down portions of it.
Yes. Well, you asked about the Entwives.
Yes.
This is one of the silliest stories in all the Lord of the Rings.
Yes, sir.
But it's still sad and beautiful because Tolkien took time to tell it.
Mm-hmm.
But like the framing of it is sort of ridiculous.
Yes.
And you could only have it in a fantasy world where
Mhm.
giants can live thousands and thousands of years.
Yep.
All the male Ents love being in the forest. And
Yep.
they say, "Hey, our forest is great." They love the Entwives. Entwives love the Ents. But all the female Ents don't like being in the forest. The Ents roam the mountains and forests, talking to elves and shepherding trees, and then the Entwives teach humans how to farm.
They like building gardens instead of wandering the untamed wilderness.
Yes, that feels like a fairly accurate sort of stereotype if you're gonna
That
if you're
sounds
gonna
about
draw it, right?
Yep.
But one of the tragic element to this isn't just that they stop spending time with each other. Like
Mhm.
the Ents are. It is that they value their way of life, or like the forest, more than the Entwives. And the
Mhm.
Entwives value their way of doing things more than they value the Ents.
Yeah.
And who knows what happens to the Entwives is entirely a mystery. I think it's
Mhm.
pretty strong implication that tragic and untimely end.
Yep.
But it's not said for sure.
Yeah.
But
Well,
as far as Treebeard's concerned, though, this is sad. Like he loves the forest, but you get the sense that he wishes he'd done some things differently to see his wife, Fimbrethil.
Yeah. It is essentially all the men were out wandering, and then they came back, and it says war had passed over the lands, like the garden of the Entwives, and all of the wives were gone. You're like, And so they have legends that the wives walked away somewhere and are safe.
And they marched and searched for them for a long time.
But they never could find them.
Yeah.
I think they're all dead,
Probably.
personally. But
It does make me think that Sam said his cousin, what's-his-face, saw a walking elm tree or something.
Mhm.
So maybe they're in the Shire.
could be.
Treebeard seems to think they might be in the Shire.
Could be.
Says they would like it there.
Or
But
at least how they're
that's
describing
certainly
it.
never confirmed.
There is hope. Perhaps. There is always
Well,
hope.
that hope is probably a red herring, but there is like a better hope, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the neat thing Treebeard says when he's introducing the song.
Yeah.
Is I think Tolkien is showing us a story where there was a mistake made, where they like it's sort of a personal problem that becomes an existential problem because their species is in jeopardy of ending
Yes.
because they valued things and lifestyle more than each other. right?
Which is very interesting that this is a conversation being had with Merry and Pippin, because back in the Council of Elrond chapter, or like right thereafter, Elrond's, right, you have the story of the Ents, which is the men were away, and because they were away from home and not taking care of their people, the war came through and nothing could be done about it. You have Merry and Pippin, whom Elrond was planning to send back to the Shire to try and get them to like bring news to the Shire to make sure the Shire's prepared, and probably wouldn't have worked anyway. But they were going to attempt something, but because Merry and Pippin are here and gone,
there's not even that chance.
And the problem of Treebeard, which is Saruman, will now become the problem of Merry and Pippin.
There is a lot of different threads there.
Yeah.
There are a couple like weird loose ends to what you said, even though that's base.
The general picture is there.
General picture, yes. Like the Entwife's home is not the Ent's home.
Yes.
Yeah. So that doesn't quite work.
Arguably, they should have been with their wives.
Yes. No. Yeah. Well, that's the point. Someone should have gone the other place.
They needed to protect the people who couldn't protect themselves.
It's this misprioritization that sort of haunts Treebeard.
Yeah.
Like he loves the forest. He's happy to do his duty for the forest. But because he made those kinds of choices, he can't see his wife.
Yeah.
Since she's probably dead.
Yeah. Somebody needed to protect the forest. Arguably, it should have been somebody else,
or like should have been both of them.
Or
if we could make some implications about the Entwives, if the legends in the Silmarillion are true, then probably they both should have been in the forest.
Yeah.
Right. And then they sort of make a Galadriel kind of choice to found their own kingdoms and gardens.
Yep.
And they end up being destroyed. So that might be too far, but interesting to think about.
Yeah. Well, it's curious because Merry and Pippin do serve good purposes where they are.
Yeah.
But they could have also potentially served a good purpose going back home.
That's much more tenuous in actuality, I think. But it's worth thinking about. Any
choice that you make, there's the opportunity cost of what you give up.
Well, yes.
Which in this case is the Shire. They I wonder, like, at the end of the books, we don't actually get their thought on it, I assume. But I wonder if they thought of the situation and made the parallel.
Not expressly.
In the after the books got over.
Yeah. One last thing with this song, though, is the final lines talk about... The first lines are, "Look, it's great. Come live where I live." It's like, no, I love where I live. And the later lines are, when the forces of evil destroy both the things we like, then we're going to long for each other. Yeah. Because that lasts longer than other things. And that's a very like elven, very Galadriel kind of problem. And the legend goes, almost a prophecy, that far away we'll find a land where both our hearts may rest. Yeah. And it is together. So it's haunting, even if a very almost comical situation where you have an intensely gender divided society. Yeah.
Well, it's a land that they both are going to enjoy, and it's a land that specifically is going to be found in the West.
Yes,
which
exactly.
is back to the elven thing. West is good. West is good. And so they'll both have to make a journey away from what they like, but they'll find a land that satisfies everybody, which is a cool concept when you think about heaven. Yes. Everybody's looking for something different, but heaven is a land that satisfies everyone.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
But God knows how that works, and that's pretty cool.
There's every reason to trust him.
Yes, sir. So the Entmoot. Yes. They get there. It's a long meeting. There are a bunch of Ents. Almost all of them have shown up. The only two that haven't shown up, one of them severely injured.
Yes.
One of them's going tree-ish.
Yes. I think saying almost all the Ents is a little misleading. I think this might be too pedantic. I hope not. But... Treebeard said a lot of them are going tree-ish. you know. So and he doesn't give us precise numbers. Like it's like 40 or so that show up. I'm not sure how much that reflects like the more general population.
Fair enough.
The Ents he expected to show up did. I think that's what he says.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes. The ones that are active, it seems, are all interested in gathering together to see what this meeting's about. They have a weird language, and so Merry and Pippin aren't really privy to much of the conversation at all. And instead, they're freed to go and wander around. There's an Ent to accompany them.
Yeah, which is good since they're in a dangerous forest.
Yeah, may as well. His name is Quickbeam, at least in the English version.
Yeah.
And he stays with them. He's already decided what he's going to do, which is he wants to fight Saruman or like destroy the evil.
Yeah.
And so instead of wasting time at the meeting, he spends some time with them, hangs out with them, lets them sleep at his house, make sure that they're taken care of. Because it takes him like 3 days to decide.
I think so. Yeah.
To have a conversation and then decide what they're going to do. Which, again, in the space of the book, it's like a page.
Yeah.
And it's the Ents are not hasty to come to decisions. 1 page later, they come to a decision.
Yeah, but it is 3 days.
In the 3
later.
days, yeah. So there's like, I know I'm supposed to not feel that way, but I do. I'm silly like that.
Terrible.
The Ents decide to go to war, which we'll see eventually.
Yes.
It's Treebeard is excited to go. He's excited's not the right way to say that.
It's not.
He
not
is glad to be doing what is right.
Mm-hmm.
He also knows it's quite possible they all die.
Yeah.
But sometimes you gotta just do what's right anyway.
Yeah.
And so he's willing to sacrifice if that's what it takes.
That's like we keep seeing this. Aragorn, Éomer, Treebeard.
Yeah. All of the heroes are making the exact same decision. I wonder what kind of action Tolkien considers heroic and good, and you should probably emulate.
Right. There's another part, which is, we talked about the home theme in the Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
I think Treebeard, I talked earlier about, like, it's neat seeing all the facets to the same central ideas Tolkien's trying to communicate. And Treebeard's a neat iteration of that. Because, like, the temptation for some Ents are just ignoring everything. Yeah. That's certainly bad. But Treebeard, and it seems like the Ents he's talking to, the Ents that we meet, their temptation, if you will, isn't to do nothing, but just to keep doing what they have been doing. Yeah. Which is, we can keep just patrolling the forest. We don't need to do something unique and strike out against Saruman. Yeah. But then they eventually decide, well, things aren't getting better with the way we had been doing things. We need to try something new. And I think that's pretty awesome for Ents to do. If it's hard for old humans to try new things.
Can't teach an old Ent new tricks.
It's even more admirable, perhaps, for really, really, really ancient tree giants. Yeah. Especially when it's something so risky. Like, we could all die doing this, but we have a duty. Yeah. So we need to do this thing.
Well, his reasoning is good, right?
Yeah.
It's likely enough we're going to our doom, but if we stayed home and did nothing, doom would find us anyway sooner or later.
Yeah.
At least we're doing something that might be worthy of a song.
Yeah.
Which is to say, if you're going to go out, at least go out swinging. Like, at least try something. And so, good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them. Very noble. That's what heroes should be doing. So, complaints aside about how briefly that's packaged in the book, I could gripe about that. It's one thing to, I think in the movie, there's like they'll show scenes. I know there are some complaints with that, etc., etc. They'll show a scene of like Merry and Pippin with the Ents and Council, and then they'll switch away to somebody else, and then they'll come back, and it feels like a lot more time's passed.
I see.
And so, like, from that perspective, I prefer that kind of framing.
I understand.
They could have cut the chapter during the Ent moot, and then the next time you come back together, the Ents do march on Isengard. Instead of ending where they do, which is the Ents march and they see Isengard, and we'll come back to Merry and Pippin and the Ents later in a couple chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will be like 3 or
3.
4.
Do we spend another 2 chapters with Aragorn and then something
Yeah.
like that?
Most of the rest of the book.
Oh, somebody wrote in my book. What?
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's going to be like 4 chapters.
Yeah, something like
5
that.
chapters.
So we'll get back around to them eventually. I guess we don't really see them actively engage in
We're going
combat.
to be told about it from
Yeah.
Merry and Pippin.
Yeah. So, I guess if that's the case, then Tolkien really does need to establish that they are going to war in one
Yes.
chapter. So it makes sense from the framing of the book. It's just,
Yeah.
I'm just being silly and picky like that.
Yeah, we could spend a lot of times thinking alternate ways to organize the chapters.
Yeah.
I think by the time we finish the whole thing,
Yeah.
I think you'll probably be more on board with how it is.
I think for what he's doing, that makes the most sense.
Yeah.
And that's the only way to achieve it.
Mhm.
Especially if you're not going to show an Intish combat and just describe it like
Right.
in retrospect. Yeah, you have to do that. Otherwise, it's like, I guess Isengard's just gone. Oh, I guess they decided to do something, and that doesn't really work for a
Yeah.
book. So I will cease my complaining. Just know that
No, well,
I'm complaining.
you had a lot of really helpful insights here.
Bless. So if I have a good insight, then it validates my complaint.
Well, here's one final thing I was thinking about.
Okay, cool.
We've been talking about how we even said this a little bit, but
Mhm.
it's interesting. Like, obviously, the human sort of, and even the elves, like all the created things need the West.
Yeah.
And even nature needs the West.
Yeah.
And like nature, even these guardians, like really intrinsically tied to nature.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. Who knows what God's going to do.
Mhm.
Well, we know what he's going to do with us, what he's promised to do, but our story doesn't super involve trees and caterpillars.
Mhm.
But there might be something here. I think it's interesting to think about. And certainly nature isn't some amazing, benevolent, perfect thing by
Yeah.
itself. Like it's either going to be in the end of things going to be retired because it's insufficient or restored to some extent.
It's going to be changed. It's not going to
Yeah.
be the same. So nature shouldn't be your God,
Right.
but there is value in recognizing that there is a blessing in nature
Yeah.
instead of taking it for granted to use it however you want to, which is
Mhm.
the Saruman thing,
Right.
which is the
It's like I have
the
my
problem.
goals. Nature should serve me.
Yeah.
Like there's a part of that that's true. But-
yeah.
Well,
Well,
you don't.
in the beginning, mankind was created to take dominion over the earth. But part of being a good king and being good leaders is to serve that which is under you instead of
That's
taking
a
advantage of
Wonderful way to say
it. And
that.
so Saruman is a tyrant to the earth,
Yeah.
whereas
You don't have to be.
others might not.
You don't want to be enslaved to nature or like
Yeah.
some hyper hippie.
Yeah.
But yeah, be a good steward. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. You don't have to pray over the block of ice, but
Oh my goodness.
we don't have to go there.
No.
Well, enlightening. There's a conversation on Treebeard.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Thing. And next time we will talk about chapter 5, which is the White Rider.
Who could that be?
Probably Aragorn.
Yeah.
I think so. We'll talk about that next time. Bye.